Hello guys and welcome to Mark Tully the Vernal, a spoken journal where I talk about real life situations, the mental health and personal development tools that you can use to overcome them. This episode is all about the importance of being present, and the structure is basically going to look like this. I'm going to talk about the problem, what it is exactly, what do I mean by it, etc. Give some real life examples, talk about the benefits, and then talk about how to create more of it in your life and how to practice it, stuff like that. However, before I start, there is two things I'd love to talk about, and that is, wow, thank you so much, guys. The response from the last episode 2 on awareness there. I had one of my mates, Hoppy, message me and said he applied some of the things that I was saying to his and literally improved his business and some stress in his life straight away. So yeah, and lots of other people, you know who you are, of course. I just want to say thank you so much. I really do want to make this a community thing. So keep the comments coming, suggestions and stuff like that. That is really it shows me it's working, and yeah, it gives me reasons to do more, and fills me up with a whole lot of goodness, more joy, more confident, more ability to go ahead and do what I want to do, So yeah, thank you very much. It really is showing me that I'm doing the right thing, because I actually don't know what I'm doing here. I'm just trying some things out, and yeah, especially constructive criticism, stuff like that. I honestly, genuinely want to build this up into something really big and help as many guys as possible. So yeah, please keep that up. It is greatly appreciated. On the whole, being authentic thing, a little bit of crude language, etc. Don't worry about it. It's just emphasizing the words or sentence whenever necessary. One last thing before I start and structure this episode is be your own champion. I've said this before. I think I'm going to squeeze it into every episode because it is really, really vitally important. And I think it's something that the world is missing. You are the number one person for yourself. You're the expert. You're the only one that's there the whole time. You're the one that knows the most about you. You're the one that's with yourself 24/7. You're the expert of you. Yeah, sure, some psychiatrists and this and that gurus might know some things, but you're the one that knows it's going to work or not. You're the one that can take on board the information and say, nah, that wouldn't work for me. Or yes, that could work for me. I might use that. You're the one that should be going, oh, I really like that. I'm going to tweak this and make it my own, because then it's yours. And like I said before, that is really powerful. So please, 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 that is fully encouraged. Don't listen to me 100%. Listen to yourself. Empower yourself with being this champion of yourself, because it can create some really special stuff. And also, just as importantly, you're the only one that actually can. Okay, so the problem. Have you ever said or heard anybody say, oh, what a quick day. Time sped up. Oh, what a quick week. Time speeds up when you get older. The years come rolling in quicker. Right. Let's just be realistic here. That's absolutely impossible. Time is one of the only constant things in our lives, and it cannot be manipulated. You cannot change it. It did not speed up. It does not speed up. It's the same all of the time. Right. Pretty obvious if you understand the concept of time, right? But what did happen? Now I'll tell you what happened. You just weren't present. You were either worrying about stuff in the past that you've done wrong, or things in the future, like the bills you've got to pay, what you're going to have for tea, the conversations you need to have with your boss, the conversations you have with your employees, all these things that aren't problems yet, and things in the past that are already in the past, all right? Now, there is, of course, you could be thinking about positive things that are coming up and positive things that have happened in the past. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. However, if it's got to the point whereas you're not taking in the present moments and the important ones, because now I just want to be clear on something here. This isn't something you can do all the time. You do need to think about your future, obviously. You know what I mean? You might need to think about something that you've done recently, and you need to take a lesson from that and grow, you know what I mean? So it's not, you shouldn't be present 100% of the time, but just more. Because I've got a little saying, and it goes like this: don't let your life get in the way of your life. You know what I mean? Don't let all these other worries and problems and even happy things be in your head too much when there's so much happening right in front of you, because this is when you get this illusion that time is sped up. I've already clarified that that's impossible, As a matter of fact, what it actually is you're not paying enough attention. You weren't being present. It's nothing to do with your retention, as in your memory. It's the attention you were paying, because that tells your brain it's worth remembering or not. You're probably already thinking that I don't want to remember everything. Like, some of my life might be monotonous or a bit boring or whatever. Mine too. And that is one of my points here, is not to be present all the time, is to pick the really important moments that you want to be with, like, you know, your family, your loved ones, your friends, some sort of achievement like climbed a mountain, or, you know what I mean, like run a marathon, these sort of things. Being present in these moments is what will make your life seem more meaningful, and that time didn't, in fact, actually speed up. The ratio and what you do this in is entirely up to you. But just remember that if you really want to remember something and you're thinking in your head, now studies show that 2% of the population can multitask. So if you're thinking when you're trying to listen, you're not listening properly. So if there's something really important, you need to shut that shit down in your brain. Take that voice out your head. Put them to sleep. Tell them to relax for a little bit. And then you'll listen better, taking the information more. Right, enough about the problem. Moving on to what it is exactly. Okay, so being present is just tuning into all of your senses and really embracing the moment. It is paying full attention to what is happening around you in that current moment in time, while also being in a nice, calm, relaxed state of mind, not fucking raging because someone cut you up or stressing about things, work, etc. I don't need to explain that too much. Remember, I try and keep these short. So yeah, it's just really taking a moment to absorb everything that's happening, or truly listen to somebody without the voice in your head. A good tip to do that is don't listen to reply, listen to understand. That'll help a lot. Right, okay, some real life examples. Now, I've just been home for a holiday for 3 weeks. And then I spent 4 weeks in Dubai. So obviously, as you can imagine, being present in these moments, I have the best friends and family, by the way. Like, there's so much love. It's incredible. So you guys know who you are. Thank you very much. I am extremely grateful that I have you all in my life. Right, being present, I had... What have I got? I've got a day out with my sister and my niece and boyfriend Jack. These moments are really special to me, so I sort of say to myself, right, let's not worry about what I'm going to be doing the rest of the holidays, because, you know, things, logistics is itinerary and stuff gets a bit hectic. Let's just focus on this moment and really experience this moment. So now I can remember a lot more about them. I can feel the joy and the good feelings, and it just, like, having that in your life helps you feel better. You know what I mean? So why not? In my eyes, it has to be done in those moments for sure. Like, imagine if I couldn't remember because I was stressing about the fact that I'm a contractor and I'm not going to get paid for the next 4 weeks when I get back. Like, that's future Mark's problem. Let it be future Mark's problem, or future you's problem. Experience the important moments. Another one would be when I was at Lindisfarne Festival. And I remember I was with Steve, Polish Steve, and it was at the vaccines, and I was thinking about something, and I was like, whoa, what am I doing? I'm not experiencing this moment enough. I'm not present. So I just went, no, stop thinking about that. Tuned into my ears, my skin, the feeling, looked at Steve and just thought, oh, this is the best. You know what I mean? Just truly experienced it. And that just took an already great situation to the max. And it's a really vivid memory now as well. All because I decided to get out of my head and be present. I could give you a million examples like that. Literally, people are the most important, valuable thing in my life. Another one, I'll give you one more, right? It was just me, Abby, and Jack. And this gentleman needs to feel very privileged because there's not normally anybody allowed on me and my niece will have a day out, you know, ever since she was 2. Whenever we could for her birthday, or whenever I was home since I moved to Australia. But my point is, yeah, we were having a great time together. We went and played mini golf, and we ended up playing some other games in this little place. It was kind of like curling, but it was on sand. It was cool. But I was just making sure I was taking in everything. You know what I mean? These are really, really special, important moments to me. So just make sure I take it all in. And then we went and had an unreal meal at this Brazilian barbecue place in Edinburgh. It was absolutely class, and I was just, the whole time when I found myself on my phone or, you know, like away somewhere else, I was like, whoa, no, don't worry about that. If you catch yourself doing that when you don't want to be, just say, oh, right, okay, we're not going to do that. We're going to be present. I was then literally able to enjoy the moments more and listen to the people there and stuff, because I met Jack's mum and dad as well, which was fantastic. If you already do this, by the way, fantastic. Tell me how you do it and how you remind yourself. I really am interested in how other people's minds work on these concepts. You can do that on my personal Instagram, which is Tully in Sydney, or I actually have just bought a domain. I don't have a website yet, but I do have an email for this podcast, and that is mark.tully@vernal.com. So yeah, send in some emails for me or WhatsApp messages. Some other real life examples. Have you ever noticed when you're really focusing on something like riding a motorcycle fast, or swimming, especially when you're learning technique and things like this, like when you're in a hyper-focused state and it's like a joyful moment as well? Have you ever noticed that that's de-stressing in your life? You know, like fishing, things like this. That is because you're being present. You know what I mean? Like, you might have the exhilaration of catching the fish or the acceleration of the motorcycle and the feelings of going around the corners. Yes, of course, right? That's going to give you lots of great and beneficial feelings and stuff. But the fact that you're being present and you're not worrying about the things in the past or the future, that's half of the de-stressing part, you know? Another real life example is that I've literally been through the last 6 months. I've went to a doctor and a specialist about having low testosterone, which I've known I've had for years, but I've been fobbed off. I got put onto a great doctor by my friend, and then he put me onto a specialist. And in these meetings, I was really present, and we did like blood panels and tests with so many different things, covered absolutely everything, and everything's fine. We even did a brain scan on my pituitary gland, and yeah, everything was absolutely fine. And the doctor was a little bit, maybe not stumped, but he was surprised. And yeah, he goes like, "There's no reason why you should be producing more." I wasn't at a level to get the testosterone replacement therapy because I was at 8. Which was the end of the scale essentially. So if you're like, he said you need to be more like 3, but the scale's like 20, it's 8 to 28, something like that. Yeah. But basically what he did was he put me in on some Clomid for a couple of months, and then we did some more blood tests, and my test levels had went up from 8 to 19 essentially, which is fantastic. Where I should be as a 35-year-old adult male. And yeah, I feel so much better. I've noticed I'm making more progress in the gym, because for years it felt like I was just slugging out and not getting anywhere, which is obviously frustrating and disheartening and things like this. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because I can explain it even deeper to the fact that what the Clomid does is it blocks the receptor that monitors the estrogen, because the estrogen levels in a male's body is how the body decides whether it needs to produce more testosterone or not. So it basically tricks the brain into thinking there's not enough of the byproduct of the testosterone production, so it then produces more. Now, because I was present in all these meetings with the doctors, I can then explain that to you. Now, I'm not a doctor, so it might not be 100% accurate, so nobody pull it apart. It's just my perception of it, but it makes a lot of sense, and that's because I was present, right? Versus me not being present and not having a clue of what happened, and probably taking longer to figure out the issues, you know, right? For example, if I haven't been present over the years, I wouldn't have been able to identify the same feelings as when there was one time I got it tested and it was at 3, because I was like heavily depressed, because they're quite linked. This is about 5 years ago or something, and I could remember those similar, like the lethargicness and the loss in libido and things like this. Like, I just remember what it felt like, the lack of drive, you know. So I was able to say, hey, I think it's this, go look here. Right, okay, so I know we've been covering the benefits as we go, but let's just quickly summarize them. So you will have better relationships in your life because you're listening to people and remembering what they say, and you're able to apply what they say to a certain situation. Or, you know, you get on better at work because you remember what your boss said exactly, so you can do the right thing. Or you remember what you told an employee, so when they say you didn't say that, you can be like, well, actually, I vividly remember that I did. So improved mental clarity. You'll also get increased productivity inside and outside of your work. You will have less stress and anxiety because it's a de-stressing exercise, right? Increased enjoyment of life, increased appreciation of the loved ones around you and the people that fill you up. Therefore, being in a better mental state, and you'll have a greater emotional resilience, so you can stay in a better thinking state for more of the time, which is really vitally important for many aspects of your life. And yeah, of course, there's benefits to your physical health, like I was explaining all about the doctors and stuff before. Overall, being more present can lead to a happier, healthier, more fulfilling life. How fucking good does that sound, eh? Okay, so moving on to how we would create more of it. Now, literally just practicing it. Just getting in there and tuning into all your senses and really experiencing the moment. Limiting multitasking, setting an intention, set daily intentions or whatever, weekly intentions, whatever you want. Like I said before, you're the expert, you. Like, I'm going to go and be more present here. Or this is going to be a moment I want to remember. I'm going to go and be more present. Limiting distractions, your phone, put it away. On that though, by the way, I just like to say, don't beat yourself up over it. Just say, right, okay, and then move forward, because beating yourself up will create more stress. Engaging in active listening, which is not talking in your own head. So silence that voice. Really think about the person's words, listen to understand, be aware of their body language, all things like this. Use your senses, or tune into your senses. What do I mean by that is, now I do not remember these numbers, but Jim Kwik in his book talks about the fact that the body's senses is something like capable of 2 million a second, whereas the mind is only capable of processing 32 per second. So if we tune into our body's senses as much as we possibly can, we cannot be anything but present. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to be smashing a motorcycle around a track to get that tuned in focusedness. You know what I mean? It can be done in a much more calm and mindful way. It is possible, quite easily as well, by using all of your body senses, like every single part of your skin. What clothes is it touching? What is the wind blowing on it? Is there, a sound far away, close, medium? Is there, what can you see, like at the furthest of your distance of sight to the medium, and then like to the short? What can you smell? Where is it coming from? All the senses, when you tune into all the senses, it can bring peace in the mind, which is pretty cool. Take a break to reconnect. If you feel yourself not being present because you're stressing about certain things, just pull away from whatever's stressing you out, like work. Mostly this is aimed at accepting things that have happened. So if you're stressing about a situation and you're, like trying to fight it, or how can I fix it, or, why me, or this sort of train of thought, if you just say, right, okay, it's life, it's a fact of life, it's like accept it and then try and maybe find a solution instead of worrying about it, then you will be increasing your awareness of the present moment. Practicing gratitude, whether that's in your head or when you're journaling, it really does help you be present and tune into all the things you have that you can be grateful for in the current moment. Right, and that's pretty much us. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got some great takeaways. For me, now just me personally, there is many takeaways, but probably the two most important ones would be understand to be present when it's with your friends and your family, your loved one, or when you're achieving things. This will literally make you feel better about your life and then your current self, and then what that does is that literally dictates how you're going to carry yourself forward, right? It will change the trajectory of your life. The better you feel about yourself, the better it will be. And the second one would be to have awareness of when you're getting those weeks that fly in, those days that shoot in, and go, right, okay, now I'm going to be more intentional next week. Because life happens, right? Like, this podcast is all about being real and authentic, right? So I'm not going to sit here and pretend we live in a fairy tale land where we can all be present all the time and everything's magical. Nah, right? Life happens. Sometimes you need to be busy, especially if you're trying to achieve a lot and tackle a lot of things, or if there's lots of stress and things are bad. Like, never beat yourself up over that. Just go, all right, okay, that happened. I don't want it to be like that. Next week, I'm going to be more intentional. So that fast week doesn't turn into a fast month and then fast years, etc. That would be my two biggest takeaways. Why don't you tell me yours? You can tell me in the comments of the Spotify, or you can tell me at my Instagram, which is Tully in Sydney, or the email that I said before, which is mark.tully@vernal, spelled the same way I spell it in this podcast. I made up a new word because I'm cool as fuck. BURNAL.com. Yeah, guys, I'm just going to quickly wrap it up and say, you really do pump me up so much and appreciate it so much. Like, I'm just a bloke that's been doing what I've always done my whole life, and that's carve the best possible path that I can with the information and abilities that I have at that present moment, right? It just so happens that I've found this passion and all this sort of stuff, and now I want to help others, which is absolutely incredible. Yeah, I'm really trying to push this and turn it into like a community thing. So yeah, please add in your 2 pence. There cannot be anything wrong to say constructive criticism, whatever. Like, if I'm wrong, if you actually can fact check me and say you were wrong in this, I will say it in the next podcast. I will correct it and say it for sure. Which, by the way, is going to be on negative self-talk, and it's going to be absolutely fire, because this is one of my favourite things to defeat in myself and clients. And yeah, so can't wait for that one. I hope you can't wait too. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great day.